I've been dreaming of a true love's kiss, and the prince I'm hoping comes with this. Enchanted's literally maybe one of my favorite Disney movies. Like, I would venture to put it in the top 4, but I feel like if you include Enchanted, you have to include like Princess Diaries. And once again, that's one of my favorite Disney movies. But when I think of Disney, I don't think of those because they're not animated. So like, but Enchanted is half animated, and Enchanted feels more Disney-y than the Princess Diaries. Isn't that weird? But it's true, it does, because of the animation. Amy Adams in that movie, like, I cannot tell you, as a little girl watching Enchanted, how much I was like, this girl is my best friend. Like, I just loved her in that movie. And James Marsden in that movie is so perfect. James Marsden in that movie, like, is so funny. He's so likable. He plays like a dumb, hot person, like, so well, but like not in like an obvious way. In like, I don't know, he plays it in a real way. Like, this guy's obviously an idiot, but he's so sweet that you love him. And I don't know, I feel like that it wouldn't have been as likable if it wasn't for James Marsden, because it's like, he's sitting there being like, I'm so attractive though, why don't I get everything I want? And it's like, yeah, you are James Marsden, so that does like why don't you get everything you want? You're James Marsden. Like, if you could walk up to anyone, James Marsden, and be like, will you be my true love? And then they would probably say yes, because you're so gorge, and like, you know what I'm saying? So I get his character so much, because I'm like, yeah, you're James Marsden. Why aren't you like dating this girl? If you know what I mean, like, she doesn't want to date you back. That's crazy. Idina Menzel's in that movie, which is crazy because she doesn't sing in the movie. She just plays like a hot girl that's like completely rational. The most rational person in this entire movie is Idina Menzel, because Idina Menzel in this movie is literally like, yeah, you're hot, and this chick doesn't want you, James Marsden. I want you then. So she like goes into the magical dream world. That's like, girl, if I have a choice between the real world and Earth and an animated world of fairy tales, I'm gonna go the fairy tale route every single time. Like, she's the only one actually thinking here. And by the way, if my boyfriend, who had a daughter that I was low-key best friends with, he had a girl who was naked, who was gorgeous, and looked like fucking Amy Adams, yeah, I would be like, we're over, dog. Like, you can't explain this to me. I don't care if you're a good person. That's crazy. She's so rational. It's like, that's why that movie's so good, is because they could have easily made her the villain in another era, but she's like so rational and so real. And by the way, like, look at her roster. She dated James Marsden, and she dated the guy from fucking from Grey's Anatomy. I never watched that's not even true. I watched Grey's Anatomy like a dad watches a reality show, where my sister and my mom would watch Grey's Anatomy, and then I would stand in the doorway and low-key watch 3 episodes, but like never actually involve myself with it. Which I also want to say, that like comment on TikTok is one of my favorite, like, I don't know, I guess trends to ever happen, of like people posting a picture of like a huge ass meal, and then it's a slideshow and you swipe to the next picture, and it's every crumb of the entire meal is gone, and it's like this like very demonic horror movie sound over them, and like everyone's like, email me, we can't talk here, or Diane, cancel my 7:30. Or they're like, walk with me, involve me. That is so funny. And honestly, every time I see it, I'm like, this is one of my favorites that we're experiencing. Because we have so many micro trends, and you know what I mean? It's going to fade out at some point, but I just am like, this is my type of humor. I think it's so funny. Anyways, back to Enchanted. I don't even want to talk about Enchanted. I just got on a fucking like rampage. Also, the little girl in that movie, I never saw the second one, but the little girl, I was like, I want to be that little girl. And here's the thing, right? Bradley Cooper once said, I hate movies that have a montage. I think that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my fucking life. Why is a montage bad? I can honestly say, as someone who's lived a life before, not a life, I'm currently living a life, but like, I've lived life before. There are moments of my life that I look back on, and it does feel like a montage, because the minute details of life are like not what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on these big events that keep happening. And when you look back on your memories, it is like a montage. So it's not a crazy idea to put a montage in a movie. On top of that, why is it bad storytelling? Why is it bad storytelling to transition from one version of a person's life? A lot happens very quickly. I don't need an individual scene, or like in his movie that I'm referring to when he did this interview, it's A Star Is Born. You basically see her and she's like playing concerts with Bradley Cooper's character, and then like the way that you know that she's made it big is she's on a billboard and she is playing SNL. Like, okay, if you're playing SNL, you're a big star. What we could have easily had a montage like of her playing a bunch of concerts and doing interviews. I don't see that as bad movie making. I actually love montages, and I'll tell you exactly why. For me, like a montage in a girly pop movie or a chick flick or whatever you want to call them, a movie made where gay men and women are the audience that they are telling the story to. In movies like that, montages, like makeover montages or shopping montages or any of those things are like so important to me, and like they are some of my favorite parts, some of my favorite movies. One of the most expertly done montages in any movie ever, like true film movie making, is Bella Swan in New Moon, when the montage of her sitting still and like 4 months pass and the camera turns around and you see her not moving and depressed, and then you see outside and the seasons change. That's one of the best montages ever in movie history. Okay, it is like really it is. It says so much with doing so little. Why is like I don't know. I just like out of everything Bradley Cooper's ever done, and it's not like he's done a crazy amount, but he's done enough. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It doesn't take a lot of work to look into his past and be like, okay, this guy seems nauseating. But, and I don't even mean to be that mean about Bradley Cooper. He's just not my favorite, okay? He's just not my favorite. I think he's talented, but I think, you know, that's just how I feel about him. Particularly that comment, because he does make movies where he, like, solely to win Oscars. And, like, I just find that, like, the validation you need from other people, it's not a quality that I find admirable in another person, especially when he's so accomplished. It's like, why do you need more? Why do you need this one thing? And he's like Oscar baiting with every movie. And I actually did like his last movie, it's not Would It Kill You to Laugh? That's the John Early Caperland special. It's called Is This Thing On? I thought that was one of his best movies because he wasn't Oscar baiting with that movie. He was just like telling a good story. And he honestly, the best part of that movie, and the best part of all Bradley Cooper's movies, are the women that he casts. Lady Gaga is the best part of A Star Is Born. Laura Dern is the best part of Is This Thing On? And then I never saw the Leonard Bernstein one, but I'm going to guess Carey Mulligan was the best part of that movie too, because Carey Mulligan, whenever she's in the movie, is the best part of that movie. Carey Mulligan's lineup of movies is like Daisy and The Great Gatsby is like an all-timer fucking character. That's like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. You know what I mean? Like that is just like a quintessential female part, and she played it like so fucking well. I'm like, no wonder they cast this bitch, because the way that she plays Daisy, she portrays that character with so much depth. What she did with that character, I'm like, girl, you did your big one, but then she keeps doing her big one because she's actually then she does Promising Young Woman, which I'm like, once again, her character is like so, I love Carey Mulligan, and so I'm gonna guess she was the best part of that movie too. Anyways, he has a Philly cheesesteak place in New York, and I've heard it's actually pretty good, so I'll cut you a little slack, Bradley Cooper, because if you can make a good Philly cheesesteak, I'm sure you're probably fine, and I just have an opinion of you. I don't know. I have a lot of opinions about a lot of men that I feel like don't get enough hate, because women get so much hate for anything they do, and most women are like usually understandable, good people, and even if you don't understand them, it's like, yeah, but if you sat down over a cup of coffee, you could probably figure it out by the end, but because you can't, you judge them, and you attack the way they look. And you know what? Millie Bobby Brown once did something that I'm like, and Millie Bobby Brown gets so much hate. Millie Bobby Brown, I think, is 1 year older than me. Like, I'm sorry. I understand everyone thinks it's funny. And it like, sure, is it funny? Sure. I'm no better than you. It's funny to act like an 11-year-old girl is really homophobic and to the point that she hits gay men with cars on purpose, and like this, like, because it's so obvious that she's not homophobic, she's just like a sweet little girl. And so to have a trend where we're like, literally, yeah, Millie Bobby Brown literally hit me with her car, and she's like this violent homophobic person, is funny. That being said, if I was a little girl on a TV show and the entire internet kept making jokes that I was violent against gay men and I really loved gay men, like, I could see how that could be hurtful. And like, that's the kind of shit we do to young female actors. You know what the kind of shit we do to like young male actors? I don't know. We don't really do anything to them. We're like, if anything, because women are the primary audience, they're like, hey, don't sexualize this person. Hey, like, be chill with this person. But at the same time, Finn Wolfhard was like so sexualized, and oh my gosh. You know, Katya and Trixie once said, no children, like no one under the age of 18 should be in a movie at all. And they're right. Like, literally, once again, like I said last week, I rewatched Never Say Never, and I'm like, it's so uncomfortable to see a little kid be sexualized. It's so uncomfortable. And I feel like it really does show the double standards when a little boy is sexualized, because so many little girls are sexualized. You know, like, you can name any child actress, and she's been sexualized to the nth degree. It's so, like, I get there's good intentions. This little kid is a prodigy, this little kid is talented, and they have this dream, and there's like money that, and they have an audience, but it's just like unethical every single time. It's unethical every single time because you aren't sentient enough to understand what you're doing, and there is a sexualization of you that is uncontrollable because of the nature of, like, you're selling your talent, you're selling yourself when you are a celebrity, and especially at a young age. It's just so, like, it's just like this, I don't know. I even think of like Noah Jupe and his brother in the movie Hamnet, right? Unbelievable talent, like, truly a prodigy. Once again, a prodigy. They are an unbelievable actor, period, end of sentence. Like, the level of work they're doing is untouchable. They're a prodigy, okay? Even at that, I'm like, I'm sure they want, like, they're doing what they're meant to do. But putting a pause on that, I mean, like, let's just do, like, animation with his voice until he reaches 18. Like, there just shouldn't be any children on screen. And that actually goes back to something else I want to talk about. Okay, so recently Euphoria Season 3 came out. Look, I was a teenager when Euphoria Season 1 came out. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I did not watch this all 2 seasons. My best friend had a birthday party for her 18th birthday that was Euphoria themed. Like, girl, Euphoria is like a cultural phenomenon. It is like a genuinely essential part of the pop culture, especially like during the first season. It completely changed an era, a generation, like, and quite frankly, my generation. It defined a generation with the first season because of Petra Collins, because of Labyrinth, and ultimately, if fucking what's his face, Sam Levinson, can do one thing, it's like curate a team of creatives. I would say that's probably the ultimate thing he could do, is like curate a group of actors, curate a set design, curate an aesthetic. Like, he's talented at that. That being said, even at the time, there was this backlash of, like, the over-sexualization of teenagers, and which is obvious, right? Like, that's what the entire show is. That being said, there was a backlash to the backlash of, like, well, in real public LA schools, this is how life really is. I find that insane. I know teenagers have sex, okay? I'm aware of that. But for the way that it was treated in Euphoria, with Cassie, with Jules, with Barbie Fierra's character, even my favorite character, Maddie, the way that it's written in the story is when she was 14 years old, she lost her virginity to someone, like, way older than her. And literally, like, Rue's narration of that retelling is like, yes, she was younger than him, but really she was in control. Like she knew she was in control. She was 14, dog. Like, I get And like a huge aspect of people feeling guilt over being victims of pedophilia, like, is like, well, I wanted to do it in the moment. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if someone way older than you turns you on. It's not your fault, and you're not in power. Even if you feel like you're in power, you're not in power. And so like the fact that Sam Levinson wrote multiple storylines of these minors being in extreme sexual exploitation, and then acts as if the story Euphoria portrays it as it's empowering. It's empowering for Barbie Fiera to be having an OnlyFans as like a curvier girl or bigger girl. It's like oh yeah, like that's girl power. Like, it's not. It's sexual exploitation of a minor. Like, the fact that a middle-aged man is writing it is like, how true can it really be? It would just be so different if a woman wrote it. I don't know. Imagine a woman writing a show like Euphoria and the roles are reversed. It's about like 7 teenage boys who are like on OnlyFans. One of them's curvier and like eats a girl out, and the girl that's old. That's like not a minor, like an adult out, and then like she's like, oh, you're so good at that, like they did to Barbie Fiera's character. Like the first time she gives a blowjob is to someone like that is an adult and she's a teenager, and he's like, whoa, you were so good at that, and she like wipes the cum off her lips, and she's like, really? It's like, imagine if I wrote that about a teenage boy. It would be so disgusting. And I really think Euphoria is going to age so poorly. It's hard because Petra Collins did her big one. Labyrinth did her big one. But at this point, doll, and the actors in it are like genuinely respected, great actors. And there's like characters on that show like no other show. I understand it's an original piece, but it is like so, it's just wrong. Like, it's wrong. And it's like, it's just not worth it to me. Like, it's just, the show is not worth it to me for like a middle-aged man to be writing a character like Cassie, or a character like, I don't know. It's like, if the show was really about Zendaya, that's the most interesting story to me, is about like Rue is an addict who's dealt with this her entire life. That I'm like, okay, if you're a middle-aged man writing about a teenage girl perhaps that is an addict because you were an addict, I can give you grace with that. But being a middle-aged man writing about like specifically this sexualization of teenagers, and how like it's actually empowering, and how like they're in charge, and like they want this, and they're doing this on purpose, and like so many storylines, and every single storyline has a teenager having sex with someone who's not a teenager. And it's just like, ugh. I actually want to say right here, like, genuinely, I don't think anyone should have sex until they're literally like 30. Truly. Like, as someone who has had sex, sorry, spoiler alert, I have had sex before, okay? I don't even think I should have. Like, I just don't think anyone should until you're like 30 years old, and you should have sex with only people who are your age, no matter what. And that's, once again, coming from someone who's like only has dated people older than her, and like even at that, like, it's, once again, the rules should apply to me too. It's just like, but the thing is that every person is different, and there are people at the end of the day who are more sexual than others, or explore their sexuality younger than others. That's just like par for the core, because there's so many different types of human beings in the world. That being said, it's like, I don't know. I just don't think that's the majority. Or maybe I'm naive. But I also am like, maybe I'm not naive. I just think like teenagers specifically in high school movies and in so many things it's like sex is like so poignant. When you're a teenager, you're a child. And you can have sex for the rest of your life. That's actually some of the advice I was given I was given advice by an adult once that was like, you know what? If you begin to drink and do drugs and, you know, do the more quote unquote like adult aspect or adult things when you're a teenager, there is such a high chance that you'll become addicted to them, or like you will do severe damage when you're on them. Do it when you're a little bit older, because when you're a little bit older and you experiment with those things, you'll have a better handle of like, and it's like more possible to not be addicted. And I know addiction is a disease, but it's just like, it was just like, wait a little bit, you know, like you're gonna have such a better grasp on like the choices you make when you're a little bit older. And like I really say 30, but like 25, your brain isn't even developed as a woman. And it's just like, do it when you're that old, because it's like you're just better off, you know. And that was like really great advice that I actually took to heart. And I was like, you're right. Like I have the rest of my life to drink. I have the rest of my life to do drugs. I have the rest of my life to have sex. So it's like, I'll just wait a couple years and I'll probably be better at functioning in it. And I did not have a high school relationship, and I desperately wanted one. All I wanted was a boyfriend. Truly, I was so boy crazy, and all I wanted was a boyfriend, and I did not have one in high school. And I'm honestly like, thank God. I can honestly say thank God, because I was so insecure in high school, and I'm just like, no teenage girl should be in a relationship. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't happen. And quite frankly, I don't think teenage boys should be in relationships either. They don't know anything about who they are yet, and neither do teenage girls. And it's like, focus on being a teenager. Don't focus on being in a relationship. I don't know. But I do know, because that's like my honest to God feelings about this. I'm going to talk about the Noah Kahan documentary. So I love Noah Kahan, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even really listen to more than like 5 of his songs. I did just download The Great Divide, the whole album, and so far it's great. But like, I guess I'm doing a deep dive because I watched his documentary on Netflix. His documentary was one of the best, and I would say most revealing documentaries of like a pop star I've ever seen. I've honestly never seen a male artist talk about his insecurities the way that he did in this documentary. And I think what he's doing is so important. It's like, it's to the point that I'm like, this is actually revolutionary. What Noah Kahan is doing is revolutionary. And he has a level of candor and a level of vulnerability that I'm like, this is a representation of a true man, of a true person, of a true human, of a brave human being. There's a lack of toxic masculinity in him. He's so hard on himself. I don't know. I've seen a large portion of his like press. Like, I think he's so funny. I've seen him on Last Meals. I've seen him like do interviews on late night shows. Like, I really enjoy him and his personality. And I think he has such a funny sense of humor, because I think he's not afraid of having dark humor. But literally in the documentary, he like goes through such vulnerable things about his mother and father. And when it comes to people being honest about their parental relationships, like Gerard Carmichael does this. Once again, I'm like, you are showing a level of vulnerability that I just am like, this, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could show the personal problems I have with my parents on a grand scale like that. He's just so honest about his flaws and the like nuances and issues he has with his family. And he puts a lot of that in the music, but he goes through how difficult his relationship is with his dad. And then during the concert, he's like, let me hear you if your parents are divorced. And everyone's like, woo! In like literally Fenway Park, like in like a stadium of like tens of thousands of people. And like everyone and then like people were like, woo, my parents are divorced. And then he's like, raise a drink if you think that the divorce was your fault. He's like, don't worry guys, it's your dad's fault. That is so funny. That is so funny. But it's also, his dad is in the audience, and like he has a rough relationship with his dad, and I'm like, damn, like given the context of what you're going through in this documentary, like that's a brutal joke. but is also like so funny and so true on so many levels. I love Noah Kahn, but I genuinely saw him as almost like a SpongeBob figure. Like he's so full of life and so full of joy, and has like a childlike way of storytelling and honestly the most complimentary way possible. I think like the more in touch you are with your inner child, the more authentic you are, and the more like just like the more in touch with who you really are, you are. And I find that as such an important quality to have in a person. And Noah Kahn specifically, I took him as someone who's incredibly in touch with his inner child in a positive way. And I thought he just seems like such a joy, like truly SpongeBob-esque, happy-go-lucky, joyful person who like takes out his vulnerabilities in music. And I feel like that goes for like a lot of artists. Like I really feel like Olivia Rodrigo is like such a happy, effervescent person in interviews, and then she puts out like some of the deepest, saddest shit in her art, and I'm like, I get it, it's an outlet, it's an expression. But I feel like this documentary really showed me like, it showed me how much that's kind of not the case. There is a part of this documentary where he's sitting around a campfire talking to camera in a confessional, which is like always my favorite part in any celebrity documentary, because let me tell you something about a fire pit. It'll get truths out of you that no other setting will. Like a campfire, sitting around a campfire, I've had like some of my deepest like revelatory, like world-shattering conversations around a fire pit. Like it's just, I don't know what it is. It feels like ancestral, or like it just feels like you're doing something that like the cavemen did. You know what I mean? Like telling stories by fire. I don't know. It feels primal and it feels honest. And he's doing that, and he has a conversation around the fire pit to camera where he's like, I don't recognize myself. I can't believe that I don't recognize myself. But that's how depressed I am. That's how far away I feel from my creative side. Like, I do not know who I am. And I just visited Las Vegas, my hometown, and I visited my true, like, you guys, literally, my true guardian angel, one of my favorite people in the entire world. Her name is Leah. The only way I can describe Leah is Leah is cross-legged and is in like a meditative stance and has a third eye, and she's actually floating. She's never walked a day in her life. She's floating around the universe, and she is here as an angel specifically to like give to others. And she's so smart and emotionally intelligent, and it really, like, her beauty on the inside, like, literally cannot help but come out of her. And she's the most gorgeous woman you've ever seen. She is true sunlight. Like, literally the way that Andrew Garfield describes Emma Stone as being a shot of espresso, it's like being bathed in sunlight. This is that person. Like, that, she is Emma Stone, but she's Leah. You know what I mean? She's Leah. She's also a Libra, which I'm like, of course she's a Libra. You know what I mean? I wonder if Emma Stone's a Libra. If she's not a Libra, she has some sort of Libra placement. She's just too likable to not have a Libra placement. Leah and I had an hour-long conversation. It was a life-changing conversation, as per usual with her. She's constantly dropping true, like, bouts of wisdom. She's, like, the most wise person I have in my life, dog. And we're both in, like, I was just, like, truly laying my heart out, my truest like fears. I was literally laying on a table for her, and I was like, tell me what to do. Like, literally, I am Fleabag and she is the fucking preacher, and she's like, kneel. And I'm like, fuck, you know what I mean? That is hard for me. And I was just like, I feel so lost in my life right now. And, you know, once again, I like don't like Taylor Swift. And then I'm just like, okay, but she is a genius. And you know what? Just because you're a genius does not mean you're a good person. Just because you're a genius does not mean that you're not a bad dancer or a bad singer. But she is a lyrical genius. And people are like, she writes like she's in high school. Yeah, her worst songs sound like bad high school, like bad songs written by a teenager who's too dramatic. Her greatest songs are some of the greatest songs of all time, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's a spectrum to Taylor Swift, and she is a genius. And one of her genius lyrics is, how could somebody know everything at 18 and nothing at 22? I'm 22, and I am, in my mind, the way that I see myself is like, I am someone who's actually achieved the 5-year plans that I've set and the 5-year goals that I've set. And like, whenever people in high school are like, what's your 5-year plan? Like, what do you want to do in college? What do you want in college? Or like, what's your next step in life? And where do you want to live? I've always had every answer in my life. I've always known I wanted to go to New York. I've always known the career path I wanted. I've always known like the type of relationship I wanted and who I want to look like and who my inspirations are. I've always had the answers, and no one likes being asked what their major is 1,000 times, but I didn't mind being asked because I had an answer. I think it's scary when you don't. And this is the first time in my entire life where I'm like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what the future holds. So little to the point that I'm like, I can barely make a year-long plan, much less a 5-year plan, something that I could easily do even 1 year ago when I was still in college. And I just feel so lost. Like, I just have no idea. And I actually was listening to a Tanner Tan podcast, which I'm going to just say something, and he's probably going to file a restraining order against me, but I'm just going to be honest with you. Because what else do we have besides our honest to God fucking truths? You know what I mean? Tanner Tan of the Tangent podcast, of as well as many other things. I've listened to like multiple podcasts that he's done. I've listened to the one like that he did before he started the Tangent podcast, and I've also listened to other ones where he was like interviewing people. I have a vision of him doing the Oprah show as Oprah, but it's also like Wendy Williams. Like, I picture him doing something like that, like being a daytime talk show host, but really it's about like discussing hot topics or discussing like the true meanings of life, because his advice is actually the most wise advice I've ever heard in my life. And like the way that I view Tanner is like, and I actually don't even think it would be this crazy to say that, but like I truly think we would be friends in real life. And I think like if we sat down at a campfire, like we would solve all of the world's problems. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He would just like, he just gives advice like no other. And he recently did a podcast. And also, may I add, he does exactly what I look at him as like a role model in terms of like, I think he's so unbelievably funny, and he's hit career marks that I want to personally hit, which is so vulnerable of me to say. But it's the truth. Like, he is someone that kind of lives truly in a way that like I have the goal to live like, you know what I mean? So I like really admire him, and I just think he is the funniest person on the fucking planet. And he recently gave he like is truly writing the Bible, and his podcast is the Bible. And his 1 or 2 or 3 episodes ago, he released this one episode where he was like talking about how much he like doesn't have his shit together. And once again, not in like a like ooh, he's a loser way, in like a honest like he like, I don't know, like a me way too. Like, I don't have anything figured out, and the people that you think have it figured out don't too. And he was like, I feel lost, and I don't really know what I want, because I've had so many like amazing opportunities, but I don't really know what the next step is. That is so like honestly clarifying and important for me to hear right now, because I feel the same way, but I'm like at the bottom of the barrel. You know what I mean? Like right now in my life, I'm like doing this and like no one's watching, but I know people will watch. And I know that like I know that this is like meant to be in a way. So like he's on the other side of what I'm on. And I know that like he is in a position that like is my goal. That's my dream, is to be in his position. And he's sitting there being like, I don't even know what I want, and I'm scared, and and I've lost myself. So literally it's like Tanner Tan feels that way, says that a couple weeks ago in his pod. I'm watching a documentary about Noah Kahn feeling that way, about like a man who's sold out Fenway Park 4 times in a row, is like a true, like, he's a star. Like, Noah, I'm sorry, but you're a star, and you're not accepting that, but I'm relaying that to you. You're a damn star, girly pop, and you're hot, and I know you feel like girl, you're hot and you're a star. I promise. And I know you didn't say that so that you're fishing for compliments. I know you're not pandering, and like, this is like just genuine vulnerabilities that you're sharing, but I'm here to tell you, like, you're hot and you're a star, like, truly, from the bottom of my heart and from the top of my heart, like, just as a fact. Anyways, for them both to be like, I'm so lost in my life right now, it's so scary to admit that. It's like there is a level of like, I feel embarrassed to say that because I want to look like I have my shit together, and I genuinely want to have my shit together, but I just feel so lost, and I just never felt that way before in my entire life. And it's so scary because you want to succeed, and when you feel lost, it's like, I don't know if I'm walking 1 step forward and then 3 steps back, or if I'm like actually paving a path that was gonna like provide for me in the future. Like, it's just, you do not know. And especially if you're like trying to achieve a dream, it's like, is this humiliating? Is this embarrassing? Is this a waste of time? Or is this actually the path for me to be who I really am and achieve am I going to achieve my dreams? It's like, no one knows. That's what's so, like, that's what makes you feel so lost. You know what I mean? It's because until you see that validation, which, like, as of where I am right now, I am receiving validation. Like, it is really comforting to be validated when you're doing something like this. And I am receiving, like, response. And I am receiving, like, consistency. So it's like, in my darkest moments, and not in my darkest, just in reality, yes, I feel lost. Yes, I'm still receiving validation. And yes, like, I have a gut feeling about something. But at the same time, it's still like, it's still not clear. And I don't know. It's just like, I've seen back-to-back really vulnerable, brave, honest conversations about that. And it's like, really, it's just made me feel so much better. And it just has, like, given me so much comfort to see 2 people who are so successful feel the same way that I feel. It just shows the level of humanity of, like, you can have all your dreams come true and still be the same person with the same problems. It's like, wherever you go, there you are. That applies to, like, success as well. Like, you can become, like, the greatest, most successful person ever, but if you still have issues, personal issues, you are never going to get over them. Unless, like, you fucking do the work and do therapy and all those things. You know what I mean? Like, you need to listen to yourself and solve your issues. You can't run away from them or, like, bury them with the other, like, positivities of life. Like, you need to address your things and, like, find ways to, you know, overall use them for the best. And I actually, once again, I'm reading Alan Cumming's book, his second memoir, which, like I said last week, he's so good, and I went on a little tangent about Alan Cumming, but he's obviously someone who's also very wise and has lived so much life. And he said something like, the truth of the matter is that the only response in life to trauma is to use it to make yourself better, or is to use it as fuel to like push you into drive, like, is to use it as drive and ambition. And he said, because if you don't do that, if you let trauma stop you or slow you down, or like use it as a reason why you can't do something or move forward in life, then the trauma compounds along with that. And the only response to trauma in life that like, or the answer of how to deal with it in life really is to use it to make something good out of it, and like use it to fuel you, or to prove people wrong, or to use it in spite, or to use it as a way to believe in yourself even more. Because ultimately, the reason why we need to keep having conversations in general about like everything that makes you uncomfortable, even today when I was talking about euphoria and the sexualization of like Justin Bieber, and like just this constant sexualization of child actors that the world feels extremely comfortable doing, I'm like, I get that this is an insanely uncomfortable topic, especially regarding pedophilia. Is there a more uncomfortable topic to talk about? It's so uncomfortable. That being said, these conversations need to keep happening, because two things are going to happen. Either you're going to disagree with me and feel more validated in your reasons, or you're going to agree with me and feel more validated in your reasons. Like, you need to be, to a degree, you need to be faced with like some sort of conflict in order to feel more in touch with your opinions and with who you are. And the honest to God truth of it is like, people, I have to use this feeling of feeling, this like feeling of lostness and this negativity and this like fear. I have to use it in a good way. I cannot let it like bury me alive or slow me down, or like the traumatic moments in my life. It's obviously, what I'm saying is so much easier said than done, right? And I know that, like, trust me, I feel that. It is so much easier to slow down and to blame and to say, well, the reason I can't do that is because this happened to me. That's not the path forward. And kind of the point of life is to keep moving forward no matter what. And that doesn't necessarily mean specifically in like a world of capitalism, or a world of like, you know, I don't mean it in a way that's like, you know, grind culture. I mean it like, if you've had an emotional trauma, you use it to learn from it, of like what not to do, not address it, and grow like even thicker vines around that issue in your soul, and fucking perpetuate the same habits that traumatized you. You need to learn from it and grow apart from it, and like intentionally choose not to repeat those traumas to other people. And this actually goes into something that I want to talk about, which is the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So let me just say one thing so that I remember what the point I'm making is, and then I'm going to talk about Amanda and how much I actually love Amanda. And you're going to need to walk with me, because she's very hated right now, but you're going to need to walk with me. But first, what I want to say is, in the show, there's a myriad of women who, like, some of them raised a family and their husband was like a true millionaire, and in the divorce settlement they have financial support and spousal support for the rest of their life. I think they deserve that. I obviously think they deserve that. I do not think they're any less than the women around them, and I really want to like emphasize that. Like I said, like, I completely respect the choice. I completely respect that choice. I will tell you, like, for example, Sutton has been divorced from her husband, who she receives spousal support from, and like all those things, like a lot, like hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month type of spousal support. And I've even seen her, like, I don't know, I feel like I've seen her really like come into herself more and more the more financially independent she's gotten. I also look at someone like Bose, who I'm like, Bose is so tapped into like what's really going on, girl, you know what I'm saying? And she is choosing her life intentionally, and she is, I don't know, she just feels clear to me. She just feels clear as a human being inside and out. And I'm like, it's because of her financial independence. Rachel Zoe, another example. She left her husband, or she decided to separate from her husband the second that it wasn't serving her. I think that choice is a lot more difficult to make when you're not financially independent. And I just think it's it's such a like touchy subject, because I think raising a family is such a respectful lifestyle. And I completely honor it, and I think it is like a life, it's a life that is valuable and important And it's no less than any other life. You know what I mean? I think people are so sensitive to that because I think it's very, honestly, traditionally, women would take a step back. So it's like my mother lived that life. My grandmother lived that life. My ancestors lived that life. They were financially dependent on their spouse. And now it's like people are really examining that. And it's like the more women should shoot for financial independence as their priority in life, and then you can shoot for other priorities like love and children and family and career and ultimate like I don't know. I just feel like that does need to be the starting point. That needs to be the goal for everyone because it allows for choice and it allows for freedom. And trust me when I tell you, like, there is no relationship that you should need to be in. There are relationships that you should want to be in. And I hate to use the word should, but like relationships are so much more healthy, I guess, when you are completely choosing and want that person in your life and are like choosing every day to have that person in your life, not when you're like not when you need them for financial reasons. Regardless, like, you can love that person so much, and if that's one reason why you need them still, it adds to, I just think, a hindrance to who you really are. I wanted to talk about Survivor, Christian Hubicki. He really is like, I'm genuinely gonna miss him on the screen. I think like clearly Jimmy Fallon didn't really come up with this effing thing, and they're like really taking it out on Jimmy Fallon, and I'm like, okay, Jimmy Fallon is like Billie Eilish. Like, they probably were just like fans of Survivor, and they were like, Survivor producers contacted them, were like, hey, what if we called this a Billie Eilish fucking idol? And she's like, sick, that sounds fun. And same with Jimmy Fallon. Like, I doubt they came up with that idea on their own and was like, we should do this as an ideal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just giving Jimmy Fallon a lot of crap about it, and I'm like, really, it's the producers who did that, but you can't blame the producers of the show and air it on television on their own show. You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm sad that he's gone. I love Devin so much. I love Emily Flippin so much. I think Emily's my favorite player. And I love Aubrey and I love Ozzy. You guys know that. But I love Emily Flippin. I just think she plays the game like I would play it. And I think she plays the most interesting game. And I think she plays the game of like a true survivor, which is like, I don't know. I just love the way she fucking plays the game. And I think she's so interesting. And I want Mike White to write a character on White Lotus just like Flippin, just like her. Because I think her psyche is so fun. Like, what a fun person in the world. She's so like cunning, but I just love the way she operates. Oh, and I did want to say something else with the Noah Khan documentary. He's really hard on himself. Let me tell you something. I watched that fucking documentary on a plane, and as soon as that little girl who was going through chemo treatments came on screen and started telling Noah Khan how much his music meant to her and how she's been listening to it when she has been going through treatment and she has felt nauseous and she's felt scared, she's listened to his music. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry again. And then he literally sings her a song. Oh. Okay, so I was gonna say maybe I got so emotional because I was in the sky on an airplane, and normally like I don't cry in movies, but I cried then. I'm crying right now, so it really just hits right here. That part made me cry. So much, dog. Like, oh my gosh, it's like there's just certain things that will always make you cry without a doubt because they're so unfair. And it's like children who have cancer is just like, it's just like unbelievably cruel. You know what I mean? It's so unfair. It's so uncontrollable. There's no justice in it. It's just like, why? Why must this happen? And there isn't a reason why. It's just cruelty to do to a person. And for him to like be so, like, he was just, like, great in that moment, and, like, it just was like, yeah, this is so real, dog. This is so real. I also watched Sacha Baron Cohen's This Is America, or Who Is America show on Showtime. I really, once again with Euphoria, I can acknowledge what Sacha Baron Cohen has done. Like, I really don't mean to underemphasize, like, there is true art being made here. And, like, this is, like, Sacha Baron Cohen is doing something really interesting. But I think the morality, once again, just like a Euphoria, the morality of the show is really aging badly. And I think, like, Who Is America? Like, ultimately, I understand that these people are doing these things and it's unbelievable, and politically they have really disgusting fucking opinions. So it's like embarrassing them on camera, and them doing something not knowing, it's not being in on the joke, is like, well, fuck them, they're bad people. I think at the same time, and this is something that Anthony Bourdain said, he was like, I'll never interview Donald Trump because he doesn't look people in the eye and shake their hand and, like, treat others in his day-to-day life with, like, any respect at all. And Anthony Bourdain was like, I've sat across from people that I disagree with on every single political opinion, like, moral opinion, every single thing, and I've interviewed them because they have, like, on a person-to-person level, treat people with care and, like, say hello and, like, with respect. And then on the other side, someone could completely align with every single political opinion and moral opinion that I have, and then, like, treat waiters like shit and, like, you know, never do anything for anyone but themselves their whole life, and, like, on a person-to-person level are just a shitty person. So what I'm trying to say is, I think that rule applies to Sacha Baron Cohen. I'm like, I get that you're humiliating people who have atrocious political beliefs and are bad people. You're still humiliating people. And you know what? This sounds like I'm trying to appease a certain audience, and I'm really not. I still, like, I don't know. There is, I don't know. This is, I guess, a nuanced conversation that I'm trying to have, and I'm like, the internet is not a place of nuance, so, like, I'm sure this, I don't mean for this to be taken out of context. Actually, he is, a Zionist. So what am I even fucking saying? This stuff is not aging well, and, like, it actually should be stopped because it's, like, really disturbing. It's really disturbing to see people humiliated in real life, and it's, like, so bad that it's career ending. Like, it just doesn't feel good to watch it, even though I understand he's trying to make a point of, like, the passiveness of the nation. He's trying to say broader things about it. It's like, I don't know, I feel you can illustrate the point without doing what he's doing. You know, I don't know his whole name, but Jordan from The Daily Show, he, like, interviews. It's like a mini version of that. It's if he's not playing a character, he's doing like short minute clips, but he's, like, interviewing people that are Trump supporters that he is, like, he's really smart, and he knows he's smarter than them, and he's asking them, like, embarrassing questions and embarrassing them and, like, catching them in lies on television. And I'm like, once again, if you're gonna do this to someone, do it to a bad people, and they are bad people and they are dumb. It's still public humiliation. You know what I mean? It's still public humiliation. And it's like, I don't know, do they deserve public humiliation? I just don't think it's like their calls to make. I think, like, karmically, or, like, I believe in, like, recycled lives. Like, maybe they'll come back as a different like, I don't know why people have the opinions they have, and I think they're harmful, and I'm not trying to justify it or make it any lighter. Like, it's not okay. I hope that I've proven that point. I think there's just, like, a humanity level of it. You know what I mean, girl? Anyways, I met a girl. I'm thinking of the Eric Andre movie where he's, like, sings in a mall. He's like, and he sings the song Maria. I met a girl today. I met a girl today. I met a girl today. And her name is Maria. He was actually legit a good singer. And I'm like, bitch, you're a good singer, Eric Andre. But nonetheless, I love Eric Andre, who's kind of like, I guess, like, the chaotic good version of, which is crazy to say that he's good, because I feel like most people would put Eric Andre as, like, but he's not evil. Eric Andre is not evil. Like, he is chaotically good. Sacha Baron is, like, chaotic evil to his counterpart. And Nathan Fielder is, like, chaotic neutral. But Eric Andre sang that song because I met a girl today, and her name was Maria, but really I met a boy today, and his name is, I don't want to say his name. Literally, dog. Actually, I'm just gonna keep talking because I have a lot of interesting thoughts. I guess I do not want to reveal too much because this is like a real person that I met in real life, and I don't want to talk about someone who doesn't want to be talked about, and I don't know if he doesn't want to be talked about, so I'm gonna keep it light. But I had this interaction. I've never had an interaction like this before. And I think the interaction I had is extremely normal. That's why I kind of want to talk about it, because I'm like, I think it's unique that I haven't had an interaction like this before, but this is the first time I've had a crush on someone. And if you don't want to hear about love, girl, I get it. Like, if you don't want to hear about straight women getting into relationships, I get it. And I'm talking as someone who doesn't want that. I met someone and I was like buzzing afterwards, and I felt like I was floating. And I like literally could not stop smiling. And I was listening to Green Light by Lorde, and I did realize that is the best song ever made. Green Light by Lorde is the best song ever made. And it's not even like a debate. Like I'm not taking like remarks about that. It's just like objectively, Green Light is the best song ever made. And I was listening to it right after I was talking to this guy that I have a crush on, and it was literally like life affirming, like I'm lost but I'm found type of vibe. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it right if I'm listening to Green Light by Lorde. You know what I mean? So Green Light by Lorde was playing, and I was buzzing, and I feel like I couldn't breathe, and I felt like my heart was pounding, and I just like couldn't believe that I met him in a diner reading a book. And I was talking to him, and he was actually smart. I've literally never talked to someone, and this is gonna sound so egomaniacal, but I'm just being completely honest with you. I've never talked to a guy who was smarter than me. Honestly. And that sounds crazy, but I'm just being honest with you. I've never talked to a guy that was smarter than me, and he's smarter than me. And I'm probably smarter in other ways. Like, I'm probably smarter in terms of pop culture and smarter in terms of, like, maybe emotional intelligence. I don't know, man. I'm sure I'm smart in other ways, but he's, and in, like, a traditional smart way, he's smarter than me. And he, I just have never experienced that in my life. And he was, like, a satiant person. Most men aren't even satiant. Like, literally, I can count on one hand the amount of men in my life I've met who are satiant people, who are like, and he was satiant. And he was normal. And not like, and I mean normal in like a true way. Like the way that Joe Keery is normal, he was normal. And in an extremely positive way. Because no one's normal. Everyone's weird and wrong. And usually in my life, and when I mean usually, I mean every single time without fail, I am in control when I am talking to someone that, like, in a romantic way. I'm in control because I'm smarter than them. And I don't mean to say this in, like, once again, this sounds insane, but it's the truth. I know I'm smarter than them. Maybe that's why I had such a chord with Sacha Baron Cohen and like the chaotic evil of it all, is because I'm like, I know what it's like to be smarter than the person I'm talking to, and I know what it's like to be in power, and I know what it's like to get what you want, because every relationship I've ever had with a man, I've been the person in control getting what I want because they're not as bright as me, whether that's socially or academically or emotionally. I know how, like, I'm smarter than them in that field. And like, I know it and they know it, and that's why they give me everything I want. So with this guy, I was like, oh no, like, you're healthy. You're mentally healthy. And he made me nervous. That was so new for me. And I saw this thing that Halsey said that was like, don't be with the guy that gives you butterflies, because that means that you're like nervous. Be with the guy that calms you down. And I think for me, when I'm calm, I've always been calm because I've been in power. It's because I'm like in control of the situation. That makes me calm. So the fact that I'm across from someone that like I'm not in control of, and there's an equal compatibility between us. There's no swag gap. You know what I mean? In terms of anything. It makes me nervous. I don't know. There was like, I saw this like thing on TikTok that was like, there is a like, it was like me when I have a crush on someone I'm better than, and it's like, life is joyous, like life is like Malibu Barbie on the beach, like it is the dolphin, Midnight Sun Zara Larson thing, like, you know what I'm saying? And then it was like me when I have a crush on someone who's like better than me, and it was like them crying in a fire, and like next to a fire, and like crying like a Disney princess, like sprawled out on your bed, hiding your face. That is so true. And that is, I think, what I'm really experiencing, is I'm never been insecure in this department because I know what I offer. And like, people are so lucky, like men are so lucky to be around me. And I think this is honestly, I'm not just even saying this for me. I think just as a standard rule, men are so lucky to be around women. Because women are effervescent. Women are full of joy. Women are everything. Women are life. You're lucky to be around life and like truth and love. Like that, women are everything. And so men are anyone is lucky to be around a woman. So I'm not just saying that about myself. I just mean in general. So I've never really been insecure because I'm like, girl, I'll be completely fine without you, and I'm gonna make your life 10 times better, so you better make the difference up in terms of your actions around me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you better put up that shelf and feed and buy me dinner and do all these things because I'm better than you, and I make your life incredibly 10 times better because when you're around me, you're around life. You know what I'm saying? With him, I did not feel that. I'm scared. I'm scared because when you do have a crush on someone who actually matches you, it's like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like just wait. Like, wait for me to be good enough, and then we'll date. But like, I need to like lose 10 more pounds. I need to like go get one more degree. Let me get that job on lock. Like, let me be a little more therapized. Let me like lock in for like 5 minutes, and then we'll date. But not right now. Like, I'm not there yet. He makes me feel like that. And it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. I haven't had a crush in a long time. I haven't had a crush, I think, since like 2 years ago. Fuck. Like, literally, man, I'm pissed off. I don't even want to fucking do this. I'm happy. I'm content. Like, I'm not happy, and I'm content. In terms of, like, my relationship status of it being completely single, I'm more than content. That's how I want it to stay. That's how I want it to be. I am the best version of myself when I'm not in a relationship, period, end of sentence. Bye. Like, literally, goodbye. And close the door on your way out. Like, bye. I'm so fucking pissed off. I'm so mad, dude. Like, I need to figure out my shit. I need to not be as lost as I am for this to happen. And I'm lost right now. Oh, man. I'm so mad. I don't want to do this. I hope it gets, and I don't even mean to say this in, like, a self-sabotagey way. I hope, because we're going out on Tuesday, I hope he says something to me, like, I hope that he, like, uses the R slur, or I hope that he says a misogynistic joke, or I hope that he has something that tells me that he listens to, like, Red Pill podcasts. I just want it to be ruined. I want to have a reason or a red flag to end it so that I can move on. Like, I already don't want to do this. I hope he doesn't pay for dinner. And know what, guys? Next week, I'm going to tell you that he didn't pay for dinner and it's over. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to legit go to bed because I think the only thing that will solve this is if I forget it and, like, go to bed. Like, I just need to go to bed. It's been Today, like, I literally met him today, dog. I met him today. So I need to, like, meditate, get grounded in my fucking shit, and, like, calm the hell down and, like, light a candle and get in touch with, like, my third eye for a second and, like, bring a little reality into, like, I've met this person one fucking time and that is it, and that's all that it is. So let's calm the fuck down, and then I'm gonna go to bed. But I love you, and thank you for listening to me. Literally, I'm not having a breakdown. I feel like I want to say, like, thank you for listening to me have a breakdown on camera and on recording, but really, I feel like I'm just aware of how I feel. And I think, like, in life, there's going to be ebbs and flows. And I think, like, sometimes you need to be lost in order to put yourself in situations where you're found. Like I said already, like, I just think, like, being lost is part of life. And it's like the hardest points of life when you feel so far away from yourself, because then you relearn how to find yourself and you relearn who you really are. And that is bound to happen because, girl, there's ups and downs. There's waves to life. And sometimes you're surfing at the fucking top. And right now I'm at the fucking rock bottom. But I don't think that's a breakdown. I think that's just an acknowledgement of, like, yeah, girl, this is how we feel. And that's perfectly fine because it happens to everybody. So thank you for listening to me do that. Yeah, I literally love you, dog. So bye.